Hi, it's the champ Antonio Tarver, and this week we break down the big grudge match against Tony Harrison and Jermell Charlo for the WBC Junior Middleweight Championship. Next up on TarversTake. Wow. This is a big fight coming up this weekend, talking about your perennial grudge match. These two fighters don't like each other, man. Tony Harrison and Jermell Charlo. Jermell Charlo, former junior middleweight champion, WBC, lost his title against Tony Harrison in a very, very close fight. But unfortunately, all three judges ruled in Tony's favor. So the people that was most important in that fight, watching that fight, judging that fight, scored it all for Harrison. And I just don't believe at this time Jermell has even accepted defeat. When you look at all of the face-to-face offs they've had, all of the interviews and everything, to me personally, it just seems like, Charlo might be in denial of what really happened that night. And what really happened that night, it was a super close fight. And even saying that, he got hit more than he ever got hit. I think he lost as many rounds as he ever lost. I think Tony, outboxed him in some segments of that fight. And personally, I could have went with a draw, but I can't argue with a close unanimous decision as the judges had it. So looking at this fight and really looking at how Charlo is approaching this fight, I sometimes ask myself, is he really approaching this fight in the best way to give him the best chance to regain his titles? And when I look at the times that I lost, even when I felt I was robbed, the one thing I did, I had to self-check myself. I had to look in the mirror and really ask myself, what could I have done differently? What could I have done better? And then I got back to the drawing board. But when you feel like you've been robbed and you feel like this guy in front of you, you're just so much better than, and the difference here is that Charlo is used to having things his way. He got it early, him and his brother, his twin brother, who is also a world champion. They had the biggest story in the game a year back or so. And, things was going well for them. And, Harrison coming off of a loss to Jared Hurd last year, a year and a half ago. He had an opportunity at the title, lost it, and this was his comeback fight. So you got to pay close attention to these guys with one or two losses in a comeback fight. They're very, very dangerous because if they have that championship heart and that championship desire, man, they know how to get back to the drawing board and make those adjustments, become better, regardless of the outcome. But you have to accept defeat in order to do that. And in this particular time, I don't believe, when I was listening to the face-to-face off that they had, it dawned on me that maybe Charlo hasn't even accepted defeat yet. If you haven't accepted defeat, how can you correct it? If you feel like you've been robbed, rather than giving this man some type of credit and recognizing that Tony Harrison is just a different type of guy. He's a real one. He's not going to be bluffed. He's not going to be intimidated. You're going to have to beat him if you're going to beat him, and he's going to come to fight. And I don't think that message has really dawned on Charlo. It's not about his ankle. It's not about him postponing the first fight. It's about the man is here today. No excuses. And if you haven't did your homework and have gone back to the drawing board and became a better fighter, it's going to be another tough night for you. And I'm not saying that Charlo can't win this fight. I'm not saying that he can't knock out Harrison, which he's already went on record as predicting. I'm just saying that no matter when you fight a guy like Tony Harrison, nothing is going to come easy. He's going to make you work. He's going to make you dig. And if you ain't on your best night, 9 times out of 10, you're going to end up on the wrong side of a decision or even get knocked out. So this is what we have here. We have a clash of personalities. I've been there. And, when you get a guy like Harrison, who is not going to be bluffed, is not going for the wolf ticket. He's calling your bluff. He's stepping up, and he's saying, I'll re-raise you. So this is where we have here a clash of personalities, man, where Charlo is really not used to someone really standing up to him face to face and saying, I dare you, and I'm gonna meet you halfway. I mean, a lot of fighters aren't used to those type of challenges because they wasn't used to that coming up. You know, they had things somewhat, you know, kind of laid out for them, you know, and all they had to do was walk through the door. But every so often, that one guy out there that don't need all the hoopla and don't need all the press, that they're in their gym, they working because it's in them and it's not on them, then those are the guys that you need to be worried about. And all I can say is Tony Harrison, from what I know, a Detroit guy that's very proud, man, he's a real one. And that's the difference from everybody else Charlo has faced. You've been listening to TarversTake.